are going to discuss this book called Carry On, Mr. Bowditch, and it is by Jean Lee Latham.
Big time.
Yep.
What's it about, Reagan?
So, it's about this guy named Nat Bowditch, and he is...
Who lives
in, like, old England, New England?
America. Yes. New England.
New England and America.
Yes.
And he, he's like a navigator person.
He becomes an apprentice.
Apprentice, yes. Oh, and he studies a lot when he's an apprentice. He, like, stays
So
late
he's
all the time.
they sign the contract.
Yeah.
And he's stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does it with integrity.
It's not what he wants to do, though, even.
Yeah.
But he has to be there because, like, it's to help his family or something, and so he does it. But then he just stays up late, like, every night and just reads.
Because?
And because he wants to learn and wants to know things, and he teaches himself, like, 1 million languages. I don't remember how many. And he, like, learns all about the stars and about ships.
He's super interested in navigation, and he works in a place where the captains and people come in really often, and he learns, like, he learns the language, and he learns all the parts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's given the opportunity to join this group of scholars. This guy takes an interest in him that's older and is a scholar because he can tell. One of the comments that Reagan made was that he. Well, I said, what do you like about the book? And she says, well, I like Nat. And I said, why? And you said,
he has character and he does hard things.
So what does that mean? He has character.
Like, he just, like, does stuff to grow all the time. Like, he just learns more and he wants to grow and he, like, you know.
Pushes himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also the cool thing about it is that he's not selfish with what he learns.
Yeah.
And
he, like, teaches guys on the ship all the time when he actually, like, goes out there. He'll, like, you know. And then he actually goes through a lot of hardships in his life, too. And it shows, like, how he gets through that and stuff.
Yeah. He discovers some information about navigation by the stars that's really valuable. And he teaches it to anyone who wants to learn on the boat. And he just shares his knowledge with whoever it is. And he went on to become... I think he joined the Royal Society and knew some kind of the famous scientists of the day and corresponded with them. And this is a true story about his life and about how he made his discoveries and how he was totally self-made individual. I mean, he came from nowhere and he was really, really poor and he was totally self-made. And he got where he got to the place that he got because he was brilliant and because he studied like crazy and paid a price, like Reagan said, to do hard things. Yeah. And you really like him because, not just because he does hard things and stuff, but because he's such a good person.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Like, he really, really cares about people and he puts them first and he's kind. He's a super good brother. He's a good son. He's a good employee. And and then there's tragedies in his life, like Reagan was saying, that are really hard for him to get through. And he gets through them by being just a really good person and overcoming hardship. And so, if you know, when I ask Reagan what some of her favorite books are, she'll always mention this one. So why do you think it's one of your very favorites?
The writing is really good, and it was...
What do you mean by that?
Like the way she writes it, it's very, like, personable and, like, easy to connect with, I guess. And I read it when I was a little bit younger, and so that was really good for me.
Yeah.
And I really liked the story of it. I liked the romance in it. I liked the hardships and how he got through that and how he was always wanting to learn more, you know. And I liked the things.
You've read it a couple times, haven't you?
Yeah. I just haven't read it in a couple years.
So how old do you think someone would need to be to get through it? And
Like 10.
Oh, really?
Or 11. I read it when I was like 10 or 11 or something. I don't remember why I read it.
I think you were just reading and we just recommended it.
Yeah, and the first, like, when I was little, if I didn't get sucked in by the first like paragraph, I wouldn't read it. And this kind of sucked me in, so I kept on reading it. So
yeah, and it's not super thick. I mean, it's not one of the really small ones. This one's about 230 pages, and there's a lot of space around the margins, so it could probably even be fewer pages, than that. And the plot moves along pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah,
that's another thing, like for younger readers especially, that the plot just keeps moving.
And it just goes through his life ever since he's like, it starts out when he's like 6 years old and goes till when he's like 40 or something. Mm-hmm. And so it's really cool to see him progress as a person throughout his life.
Yeah. This won the 56 Newbery Medal. Newbery Medals can be a good source. Not all of them are necessarily my favorites, but many of them win because of that. It was first copyrighted in 55 and won the Newbery Medal the next year. So it was a high, had a lot of recognition right from the beginning, and has been. It's one of those books that it was around when I was a kid, but I never heard about it until I got really involved in educational circles and ran across really great books. I'm grateful now because I discover all kinds of great books quite often now, but when I was younger I didn't have access to these kind of books, so I'm so grateful that my kids do. But I do think it's a character building book.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something that you should read to your children. I think by 6 or 7 or 8 and older you could read it aloud to them. And by the time they're in their really young teens, early teens, or even right before then, they could get through it themselves. And it's inspiring. Like, I think part of it too, he's so self-educated, that was inspiring for all these guys, especially my older two who've read it and talked about it and really, really liked it. That it was like, oh wow, maybe I could be like Nat, and maybe I could read a lot of stuff, and maybe I could help other people.
I actually really liked his name when I was younger, and I was like, I'm going to name my kid that after him.
That still wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
But it does move along quickly and tell his life story and the cool discoveries he made. And you can learn more about him online and through other resources and stuff because he was a real person.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carry On, Mr. Bowditch, Jean Lee Latham. We really, really like it. Think it's an incredible classic that will build character. So please pass this on and let everyone you know about our crusade to build character through the classics. See you next time.